The opening seems like a kind of clever reference to all those meta-horror movies like Scream. And then in a really clever jump it fast-forwards and goes to the end credits and we realize we are just watching a TV show within a movie, not the actual movie. It's called Pizza because the main character is a young pizza delivery guy. Michael and his girlfriend Anu live together. Anu is writing a ghost story novel and doing research by watching lots of horror films. One day Michael see one mysterious man seriously talking his boss office. And next day Anu finds out she is pregnant, they panic about money, and finally they have a little marriage ceremony, just the two of them in their little house. And it's right after that. Michael boss call Michael give same files and sent his house boss daughter is possessed, he has hired an exorcist for her the mysterious guy. Michael gets the call to deliver a pizza to a mysterious house. At the moment boss give chocolate box delivered his house. And then we jump ahead several hours, his boss Adukalam has been looking for him, so have his co-workers. And now he is back sitting in the middle of the pizza parlor looking terrified. And telling them his story. And now we get the ghost story. We need the boring everyday life to make the unusual really stand out, to make it magical. And so Michael arrives at a normal-looking house, a normal-looking woman invites him in, tells him she doesn't have enough cash on her, asks him to wait while she checks upstairs. It's all very mundane. And it stays mundane in a way. The horror comes from a door that locks from the inside, a cell phone with a cheesy ringtone, a landline phone that somehow picks up cell phone signals. There is no fancy special effects, no big scary monsters. It's all like regular life, but somehow wrong. And the growing horror isn't from anything actually happening inside the house, it's from the fear of what might be happening outside. VJ finds the woman dead first, then a man shows up outside the house, the woman's husband, and seems jealous and suspicious of Michael. And then suddenly disappears from outside the house. And when he goes upstairs he finds a small child named Nithya who stares at him. Slowly we come to figure out that all the rules of time and space are gone, he can get cell phone calls on the landline, no one seems to hear him when he calls out for help, and finally the police show up. Only in the background as they arrive, we see that the house is different again. There is crime scene tape up. And they slowly reveal that there was a murder here a week ago, a husband and wife and their daughter. And also a young woman, a student at a nearby college, Anu. Which is Anu character's name. By this point the audience and Michael have already gotten used to the ways time and space don't follow any rules. For one thing, his boss and Anu are saying he has been gone for hours, but he has only been in the house a few minutes. And so when the police say that Anu was found a week ago dead outside the house, we don't bother looking for an explanation, and nor does Michael. We just assume that somehow the house is caught in a future time, but he can maybe still reach Anu in the past and tell her not to come and save her. And then the peak confusion, he makes a run for it to get away from these practical reasonable cops who want to arrest him, and suddenly they are grabbing at his leg, begging him to save them. Somehow they are trapped not just in time, but in behaviors, just as the other ghosts are play-acting the woman who ordered a pizza and so on. We don't really worry about an explanation for any of it. Adukalam's daughter is possessed, he has hired an exorcist for her. Michael sees glimpses of this through the window when he makes a delivery to their house. And somehow the name his daughter is saying in Nithya is the same name as the dead little girl at the house Michael goes to. Maybe he angered her spirit in some way, so she confused him, brought him to the wrong address when he was making a delivery, and trapped him in a nightmare. That's good enough to answer everything. And we don't really need an answer for anything else either. Michael has a scar on his back, feels like it is bleeding all the time, has trouble breathing, gets visions, he's just plain messed up. And not only is Anu not at their house, all her things are gone as though she was never there. The police are informed and asked to look for her, but have a hard time tracking down evidence of her existence. She and Michael were both raised in an orphanage and came to the city together. No one else around their house ever really saw her, and she put in her leave from college 2 months ago. Did Michael kill her? Was she a ghost too? We, the audience, wonder but don't really want or need an explanation, it's just spooky is all. And his friends/co-workers don't really need an explanation either. They are sympathetic and supportive and help him get out of his house and stay with them. To an almost extreme degree, it's not really believable that just because he works for them, they are helping him get asthma medication and everything. But our hero seems to be going along with it, and he is our entrance to this film world, so the audience goes along with it too. Until suddenly twist. After months of being taken care of and watched over by his co-workers, he goes out on a delivery, stops his bike, pulls out his phone and swaps SIM cards, and then calls Anu, who is living in luxury somewhere overseas. See, this is what I meant about the real horror. The real horror is discovering your boss is using you to help hide illicit diamonds. To discover that your girlfriend is ready and willing to steal those diamonds. And to discover that you yourself are capable of great deceit to hide the crime. Although that confusing time and space stuff, that was to provide the perfect alibi. The foreshadowing with the daughter being possessed, that was to let them know Adukalam was susceptible to this kind of story. And the opening, where we saw our young couple in love and pregnant and worried about the future, that was to provide motivation, not backstory. Here, the mystery of him going to the wrong address and thinking it is the right one, getting his cell phone calls on the landline, time moving at a different pace for him than for his boss and co-workers, Anu being gone with no evidence she was ever there. If you removed the supernatural part of it, there is an obvious practical conclusion. He left with a fortune in diamonds. He was gone several hours without responding to calls. And his girlfriend left town with everything she owned. Obviously he stole the diamonds. And that's what his boss thinks. That's what is making Michael so nervous for the second half of the film. Not fear over Anu or ghosts, but fear that his story will be found out. He isn't being protected from ghosts by everyone watching him, he is in danger from them all, and the ghosts, or rather, ghost story, is what is protecting him. All of this is just so brilliant. Including a possibly open ending when at the end of his phone call with Anu, she stands up and walks off, which makes me wonder if maybe she is leaving him too. The final horror, eh? And then there is the last sequence which Michael goes to deliver a pizza, a woman opens the door, invites him in, asks him to wait while she gets money. And suddenly he feels scared, a little girl comes in and is called Nithya and the door blows shut. So I guess his story is becoming true. The true horror being people.